Morning, I'm David Mohandley, the Grumpy Entrepreneur, and today we've got Sukh Hayre, who is co-founder of DMMI. Is that right, Sukh?
DMMI, yeah.
DMMI, right. Okay, DMMI. And instead of me like messing up an intro on this, Sukh, why don't you introduce kind of 60-second about who you are as a business and, kind of where you are in your journey at the moment?
Yeah, thanks, David. So I'm Sukh Hayre, founder of DMMI, which is kind of hyphenated for direct message me, and we're a podcast booking platform designed to make the process of booking podcasts, finding guests, connecting with them, managing that relationship a lot more simple and more efficient for podcasters. So it's kind of been an idea of mine for a long while. I've kind of been a podcast fanboy for going on well over a decade. I kind of followed all my favourite podcasters online.
Because you're getting old.
Yeah. So I'll start with that one. Yeah, so I kind of followed all my favourite podcasters online, and I'd just kind of see their tweets or their Instagram messages going back and forth. Oh, I'm looking for my next guest, or I'm trying to reach out to so and so. Does anybody have a contact detail for him? I was like, there's got to be a better way of doing this, right? So we kind of noticed that there's a lot of that going on. So there's got to be a better way of doing this. So we kind of spent some time kind of assessing it a little bit and trying to find there's got to be a quicker way of doing that and processing, avoiding that back and forth. So you make a connection, find then right, which platform do you do it on, and how are we recording, when are we recording, etc., etc. So you can slim that all down, can boil that down to a few screens, a few clicks, and just kind of make that process a lot smoother and kind of get the podcasters focusing on creating content as opposed to kind of doing all the admin side of it.
Right. Okay.
So that's what I do with DMMI, to have it's a one-stop shop for podcast creation, basically.
Brilliant. Okay, I mean, so a lot of people won't know that I've actually known Sukh probably, it's got to be going on 15 years, I think, possibly even longer than that, when he was a project manager for me in a very different life. So what was the moment that you thought, oh, I know, I'll do something out of my comfort zone and do this product? And you've sort of said why this product, because you said you were a follower, but what was that moment? Like, everyone has those moments. I was just wondering what yours was.
Probably kind of a familiar story, really. It's kind of at the tail end of the COVID lockdowns. I know over the years we've had conversations about various little startup ideas that I had, but it was never the right time. I never really followed them through. Because I have a great idea, but kind of not having no real way or means to kind of do it, or kind of take it to a market or build a concept or anything like that. So kind of COVID kind of teaches that lesson that life is too short a little bit. So I was like, screw it, let's do it, right? So kind of just become
available as a book.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. And I think I've got your book, actually. I've got a copy of it. Got a copy of it. So I've kind of been a podcast, as I said, I've been an avid podcast listener for years, and kind of the space I knew fairly well. And I thought I kind of leverage a kind of professional experience and kind of doing all the project management stuff that you do over the years. Yeah, let's put the two together, right? And started investigating it and kind of seeing how viable it was. Kind of bit the bullet and began working about just over a year ago, really.
So have you on this journey? How long's the journey been so far?
So I kind of first conceived of it. What year are we? 2023. Kind of late 2021, really. Okay. Well, actually, to be honest, the first time I actually thought of it was kind of 2018. I thought, well, there's something I just kind of never did anything with it, to be honest with it. Just kind of wrote a few notes down, thought, I'll get to it, but there's never a right time, right? It's always something else is going on, there's a new job going on, there's money, expenses,
family.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's all that stuff. So in earnest, it's kind of late 2021. I kind of just started researching it a little bit, kind of understanding the market, I started doing the technical side of it, kind of building a conceptual architecture. How would this look, right? And what are the components to make this work? And it's kind of early 2022. Kind of reached out to Harry Rummenworth, I can't say his name. He's kind of the guy I worked with in the past, really good data guy. Kind of pitched it to him, and I tried to drill it into him a few times exactly what we're trying to do, but he kind of got it. So he kind of helped me with actual technical side and actually on the build perspective of it. So we kind of got to that point. We kind of meet in the middle.
And have you had any like a funny story so far on the journey?
Yeah, well, so you kind of go that whole startup journey, right? You kind of conceive of it, and then you see what technical feasibility, then it's some of the business feasibility of it. And I kind of follow a few podcasters online, and I reached out to a few. And Iona Retelier, I don't know if you know her or not, but she's kind of an editor of Area magazine. I kind of reached out to her, and she's kind of gracious enough to kind of give me some of her time and kind of ran past some features with her. And one of the ones I had was kind of a reciprocal podcast booking feature, whereby you a podcast would go on another podcaster's podcast, and they return the favor, right? So reciprocal. And she's like, "Oh yeah, we call that podcast 69." And I went, "Okay," it kind of made me blush a little bit, but I quite like it.
Someone thought they were being funny with that when they came up with that, right?
And have you had use that?
And have you had any bad advice so far? Like, I was chatting to someone last week, and it's amazing, like, the amount of people on the startup journey get some really just, I think some of it's not intentional. It might be a little bit intentional, but some of it is actually like the people think they're giving good advice, but it's actually really bad. Have you had anything like that so far?
I wouldn't say necessarily bad advice. I've had a couple of "you don't get it." Well, I don't get it. But I wouldn't say bad advice. I don't necessarily countenance it as bad advice. I think all advice has value to some extent, right? If it's good advice and it's a good idea, great, you take it up. If it's bad advice, you kind of learn. Don't do that. That someone's giving you that advice, and you kind of push them to the side a little bit. So thank you. You kind of move on a little bit. But I don't think it's necessary. I've not had any yet. But then again, I've not really put it out there a great deal.
You're still fairly early days, aren't you? I mean, there's more to come of that, I'm sure. Anyway, so that while you were doing this, I'm sure, and you're into your podcast anyway, there must have been a lot of podcasts you've reviewed, right? What's the most random one you've come across? Like, I was thinking how to ask this question. Like, is there one just about bananas or something? Or like, what's the most random one?
There's some random stuff, but a lot of my stuff is kind of it's either current affairs, football and sports a lot, or kind of history podcasts. That's where I kind of started my podcasting journey. I kind of found some history podcasts. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a weird one. What's a weird one? I can't think of anything that comes to mind.
I mean, the 69 one,
quite a few
69 one's quite random, isn't it? I mean, not random as in content, but random as in the name. I mean, that would be. I mean, I was looking the other day, and there is actually a couple of podcasts on just bananas, which I just don't know how you can provide content on bananas, but I didn't get that deep into it. But it kind of made me smile a little bit, going, "Wow, there really is something for everyone."
Well, that's just it, right? That's the whole podcasting landscape, right? There's very few barriers to entry, and people can absolutely, like, the other days of YouTube effectively, right? You turn on a webcam and away you go. You can talk, right? And
there's a lot of conspiracy theory ones as well, which I know you'll love. So, because I see your tweets, dude. So, but there's a lot of conspiracy ones, and I was looking at one, trying to think the name of it, even to give a plug, and I was like, wow, actually, whether I agree with it or not, it's actually quite good content. It's actually really good, and someone's done some real
it's kind of easy content.
homework on their conspiracy theory, like with some facts, and it's like, wow, I don't even know I've got time to go and search those facts. So it's like, so it must be true. I'll take it as given. I mean, if there was anything, if you could go back and do anything differently, I think you may have alluded to this already. What would you do slightly differently?
Do it sooner. So, like I said,
either way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's never a right time. I mean, we're all getting on a bit. It's like, right, first time founder, and you kind of see other founders, except for the one in the 20s. You're like, oh Jesus Christ, I feel like a bit like the dad. But I think maybe I'll turn that negative into an advantage, right? So
we got because you're certainly great, dude. But then I can hardly speak, right? But I mean, at least you. I like to think that if I knew everything I knew now and I had that in my 20s, blimey, I'd have been unstoppable. But that's what makes 20s being cool, right? Like you make loads of muck ups and you don't really care. You don't really. It's good to not know too much sometimes, isn't it? So, so you guys are raising at the moment, I think, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah. So we've just been bootstrapped to this point. We've got our
hence the backdrop, which, by the way, I was just speaking to Sukh about, and his lovely daughter did that. So I actually think that's worth more than anything you could spend money on. So,
well, the other daughter wanted to spend the money on a holiday instead of building the app. So, sure, we could have gone to Disneyland. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, kind of get a point a little bit. But so why do you feel? I mean, it's quite early, but at the moment, just give me a quite quick reason why someone might invest in your business, maybe other than another business out there, because sometimes it just comes down to forget sometimes product, it might be the people involved. So what do you think that reason would be?
Well, first, I think it's a market sector, right? I mean, podcasting been going 10, 12 years or so, but it's already a $20 billion a year industry, and that's forecast to grow by 2028 to $100 billion, I think. There's just 18 months ago, there were 2.4 million podcasts in existence. I
Wow.
think it's over 4 million now, right?
Bloody
So
hell.
the growth is exponential. The market size and the potential there is huge, right? So
Yeah.
what do they say? You don't necessarily digging for gold, but you want to be selling shovels. So that's that's kind of the idea. Secondly, I think the platform we've built is quite scalable. I mean, we could have knocked something up fairly quickly and had it very basic features, etc. And we could have run with that, and we've done it in half the time and half the cost. But we've built a completely scalable platform from the database level up, taking all the kind of future considerations in. So there's no vast rebuilds needed, no mass recoding. So it's primed for kind of scaling more than anything, and kind of jumping users on board. And finally, I might kind of like I alluded to it as well. I mean, it might be a first-time founder, but obviously a bit of an older one. But you kind of benefit from that experience, right? Kind of through that professional career, kind of used to managing big teams, used to managing big budgets, etc., etc. So I've done plenty of that.
You were a good project manager. I don't know if Richard Sahunter will watch this, but our joke isn't it, that I actually think you're a better project manager than Richard Sahunter. So we'll get that one in, because I have to do that. That's just like my thing. I mean, like, look, a couple of last questions, right? So, because it's people won't know, it's actually Saturday morning. So, because we managed to miss each other all this week. So, what's a fact that no one would know about you, Sukh? Maybe even I don't know. So,
I bake some mean sourdough bread. There you go. That's a good
do you?
Yeah. I'm going to be the best startup sourdough baking founder, whatever it is.
Brilliant. Because I thought you were going to come up, because you and Richard used to wrestle. Is that right? Have I made that up?
Yeah, and we've just started again the last couple of weeks.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, that's the fact I thought you were going to come up with.
Well, yeah, but I've actually pulled a muscle in my glute at the minute.
Yeah, and that's because you're in your 40s and you shouldn't be wrestling, probably. And what's the proudest thing you've ever done?
Ooh, proudest thing I've ever done. Don't think I'm there yet. What's the old saying? Before pride comes a fall. Right. So I'll reserve the right not to answer that one, just in case I tempt Providence.
And I guess if someone was watching the video and they could help you, what could they help you with?
Well, first and foremost, go to your favorite app store, whether that's Apple or Google, download DMMI, create a profile, get yourself on there, get yourself booked onto the Grumpy Entrepreneurs podcast for a start, and have a chat. But also kind of potential investors. I mean, if you're in this space, we're always happy to talk to you and maybe build a relationship and work forward as well. So yeah, we're more than happy to speak to anyone.
Okay. Well, what everyone knows, in the description for the video, I will put the contact details for the business, and also Sukh's details as well, probably his LinkedIn profile, so you can speak to him there. I'm also, if someone wants to message me, then I can introduce you to Sukh as well, because as I said, I've known him very long time. And in fact, I was thinking, Sukh, you came to my 40th birthday, which I remember you and Richard, and I've got my 50th next year, so the invite is going to be in there for you. So, but
hopefully, won't be as drunk this time.
Wow, yes, you too. Look, so really appreciate your time. Really excited for you as well, just on a professional level, but a personal level as well, because I know you've been working hard at it. I know when we first spoke, gosh, it must be quite a few months ago, and you sent me the original deck, and you got a DMH email back about the deck and stuff. And that's what makes it for, right? So, but no, I'm really excited for you. I think you're. I know how hard you work, and I know you're resilient. So I think you're going to go a long way on this. So, thank you for your time, everyone. Like the video, and as I said, Sukh's details will be in the description body for the video. And Sukh, thank you for your time, buddy.
No, thank you for the invite. We appreciate it.